When we start, we see that Maggie, she's down there, she's fighting the walkers. For our heroes, you're not a hero unless you fight through things and you survive things. And Maggie is a survivor. She has been through a lot. Putting her in situations where she's really just having to be strong and smart, that's always a good place to put our heroes like Maggie. So we just felt like it was important to start the episode on her like that, because you just see like how determined she is to get through her mission. Daryl, in a lot of ways, is in this very atmospheric part of the story, but it's all important to kind of remind us of stakes and what's out there in the world. And we like this idea of showing this mural. We wanted to touch on these themes of high and low class, which go throughout the season. At the top of the mural, you'll see this family wearing crowns, and then Daryl scans his flashlight down, and you see it's the same family, and they're still wearing the crowns, but they're now homeless, and they're looking for food. And you see people who are in crowns that are being torn apart, not by zombies, but by other humans. And so we were trying to tell the story of what happened in these subway tunnels, and the backstory of it is that there was this massive class struggle that happened. People wound up being murdered and stuffed in bags. And so you see a mixing of people who are homeless along with people who had a lot of money. You know, there's a guy in a suit with just a suitcase full of cash that he tried to run away with, which you now think like, well, that was useless. And then you even see a different context for money, because he finds this bag of things left behind by children who are forced to be almost adults in their own right. And you see something that was a bill that became just notepaper for this child to leave a message to parents, and clearly they never found each other. You know, there was a bunny that Maggie saw on the tracks, and you see the photo of these two beautiful children, and the daughter had the stuffed bunny. So they either didn't make it, or at the very least, they had to run and leave that toy behind. So for Daryl, as he's kind of going through, it's a reminder for him that the mission they're on is to prevent their people from winding up in a place like this. Keeping them afloat is worth the sacrifice for our heroes. Some of the things that we love about Princess is that she is just this bright, shining light in the middle of this dark world. She is authentically who she is. She's been through so much trauma, but is looking to connect with people. You know, we're playing this character as having ADHD, and we've tried to kind of be true to some of the mental health struggles that sometimes accompany that, because you just think in a different way. And sometimes people don't accept that. But, you know, we've seen that she's incredibly observant, and that because she can sort of hyper-focus on things, she notices things that a lot of people miss. And so that in and of itself becomes this thing that helps our people almost escape in the first episode. I also think, like, you know, she's not shy. She just kind of is like, well, I gotta go to the bathroom, so I'm just gonna talk to this guy.
Do you have toilet paper? I'm excited.
The fact that she is somebody that is not afraid to try to connect with people is something that's going to take her really, really far at the end of the day.
You want to speak to my supervisor?
That's right, we want to talk to the manager.
When Maggie comes back in the train car and just says, I slipped and he saw me do it and he left me to die, and he's like,
okay, so what?
That's just Negan. I don't think he feels a lot of shame about like the things that he does as a survivor. And I think he's always been oddly a straight shooter. He pretty much tells you who he is and what he thinks. And he tells every person what he thinks of them. Like a lot of times, like, he can be a real bully at times, like to people, and just kind of call them names and things like that.
I'll tell you why I'm here, man, Teds.
I'm real close to shoving a gag in your mouth.
Well, why don't you get up on your little tippy toes and try?
There's definitely no not knowing where you stand with Negan.
Hey, this one seems a bit looser. Sasquatch, give me a hand.
In the scene with Gage, we felt that it was really important to come to a point in this story where a horrible decision had to be made. Gage is so young, I mean, the guy is kind of a jerk. He was part of the group that was bullying Lydia at Alexandria. He was sort of complicit in this attack on her. But we thought, like, you know, somebody like that who's still kind of young and growing, he's out on this mission because he wants to try to help and try to redeem something. But he made some bad choices once again.
Gates! He took our supplies.
He runs off at the first opportunity and he takes supplies with him. When he comes back, our people would have let him back in if they could have. But I think when they look at the math of like, you've got a herd of zombies coming after you, you were a coward. If we let you in, now we're gonna use our ammo, we're gonna use our energy. You might die anyway, and we might all die. I think that Maggie kind of looks at that and she thinks like a general and goes like, you're an acceptable loss in order for the rest of us to go on. But that doesn't make the decision any nicer or easier, because he also takes his moment to kind of say, F you, like, if you're gonna do this, then you're gonna watch me turn in front of you. Like, that's what's gonna happen. An important moment in the arc between Maggie and Negan is there's this moment where they feel like they're just in real trouble and maybe they're all gonna die, and Maggie hands Negan a gun that she has on her. Maggie really is just kind of like cold, hard leader at that point. Right then, he's just an asset. The mission has become more important than any one individual or any one dynamic that exists between them. And that is true even for her. And so when he gives it back, maybe there is at least this tiny, tiny bit of trust that has passed back and forth between them. And that's going to just be part of the shifting sands that they're on as they're going through this mission together. The final scene with the Reapers shows, like, they've got the hanging bodies and all kinds of things. Like, there is definitely sort of this apocalypse now type of vibe to them.